right.
Do you have anything
Whatever.
else you need to say? Because otherwise I'm going to show everyone the cat.
No, you can't show people a cat on a podcast, but you're welcome to try.
But I can on YouTube. Hi, I'm Cami Chaos.
And I am Rick Turoczy.
We are mildly interesting people, aren't we?
Very mildly.
Very mildly.
Yes. So if you're listening to the podcast, you can't tell, but if you're watching the video, you can see there's no guest this week. Why is that, Cami?
The modest answer or the real answer?
How about the real one? Let's be truthful with our 2 subscribers who are actually listening on a regular basis.
I've been hustling and scheduling our guests, but it's a new podcast, and so our guests are scheduling a little bit further out. So we don't have anyone this week to talk to, despite the fact that we have 4 amazing guests lined up for the next 4 weeks.
So we'll have 4 podcasts coming up with guests at some
unless
point.
one of them sees the podcast, listens to the podcast, and says no, thank you.
Oh, I thought they were just overly nervous because we were so good at the podcast.
So good.
So polished. Speaking of polished.
I'll tell you.
Yes, go ahead.
The answer to how comfortable are you has been mostly super duper comfortable, either because they're very comfortable people or because you and I are just so darn comforting.
Yeah. Well, which brings us to today's episode. We thought it might be valuable, not only from our perspective, but we would love to hear from you. We kind of wanted to do a teardown on our first episode and see what went well, what didn't go so well, what we could do better, how we improved this for our loyal subscribers to the podcast.
Be completely transparent. Rick wants to do a teardown. I just want you all to tell me it's wonderful.
So yes, please tag me in all the criticism and tag Cami in all the positive stuff. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, obviously it's very easy to understand how to provide that feedback. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, you can either come over to YouTube to provide that feedback, or we will provide some ways to provide that feedback in the show notes so that you can send us that feedback.
Like
so we get it.
They could follow us on Instagram and send us direct messages.
That's fair. You could follow us on or public messages. That's fine too. So long
that's
as you
true. I have no problem with the public messages.
Just make sure you tag me in all the criticism and Cami in all the positive aspects of it. So why don't we start this teardown with positive things? Like what went well? What do you feel like went well with the episode? The first episode. Yeah, I think the guest choice is obviously a good thing. Like, I think we could have talked for another couple hours pretty easily. Like, there was plenty of stuff we could have gone deeper on, but I feel like the guest was a really good choice and a really good place to start. What else? I feel like
that's also a positive. The fact that there was stuff we could have gone deeper on means that we delved deep enough to like uncover some really interesting truths. Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks highly of us being able to bring on return guests. So I like that as well.
Cool.
I liked I had a martini. That was a good part of the episode.
That's not really part of the episode.
So you share a good thing then.
Oh, I thought the guest was good.
I said that already.
Oh, well, I thought we got into some good interview points.
Pretty sure that's still about the guest.
The 2 of us did some things to have conversation with the good guest that was good.
Okay.
And things.
Okay.
We actually did it. That was a positive thing.
Oh my gosh, why didn't I? Yes. Kudos. Good job.
We put the first, it was the second episode technically.
It was the first real episode.
Yeah, but it was the first one with the guest. And we actually recorded it and published it
twice.
and those kind of things. So we did record it twice, but you're already getting into the bad. All right, let's just go to the bad stuff. What's the bad stuff?
It's funny that I'm like, only tag me in the good stuff, but then I'm all about the bad stuff. The bad stuff. We had to record it twice.
Yeah.
There was a huge amount of lag for me for some reason, which we kind of think we figured out.
That's part of the reason to do this is we're kind of testing to see if we've solved the lag issue.
The lag combined with my tendency to babble made me the most awkward person on the planet, which, I mean, status quo, but I didn't that.
It was difficult because I felt like Mika and I were talking over you because of the lag, and then you would stop talking, but it would take time for us to catch up, and then we'd wind up with a weird gap. And I'll be quite honest, like I wasn't going to go through and edit all of that stuff. I felt like the subscribers needed the content as quickly as possible. So I may have done a poor job of editing as well.
I don't think so. Yeah. I think also there's some, the history of Cami podcasting has been predominantly video podcasting. Mm-hmm. And so I think that there was a lot of me mugging for the camera and communicating non-verbally, which is fine when you're doing a video podcast, but I'm doing an audio podcast that happens to have a video.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something I personally need to work on.
Yeah. That's something we both need to keep in mind is that, like, for the vast majority of people listening to this, they are just listening to this. And even
majority, you mean like 2, 3?
Yes. Well, if there are 3 people, then 2 of them are listening to it, and maybe 1 is watching it, and that's probably me. So, what else? Okay. So we did good and bad. What was like worth fixing, or we should stop doing with the podcast?
I don't think we've gone far enough for me to be able to identify something we should stop doing.
Okay. That's fair.
We've had one guest.
What needs to be, what was close and could use some polishing, or what definitely needs fixing, like beyond just our rapport, which is clearly broken and will never function well.
No.
Yeah. It'll just be what it is.
We don't
You'll
know
just
that.
have to
That's
deal
fine.
with it. Yeah.
There's a dynamic that I find really interesting that I'm curious to see if it's going to continue. And it is that Rick does a ton of research and a ton of work. And I just show up and do the call. And in this particular case, we were interviewing one of my closest friends. And so, like, I thought I knew everything, but Rick was able to uncover things that I'd never heard before, like stories from Mika, one in particular that, like, I'd never heard before. I'm incredibly fascinated to see if this continues, because there are people that I don't know. It's not that I'm not interested in knowing about my friends. I deeply am, but when you don't know something, the curiosity is just so strong. And so I'm very much wondering what happens when we start booking people I don't know so well.
Do you think you will feel more comfortable if you also do research, or would you like to kind of just fly by the seat of your pants no matter how it is?
I don't wanna.
Don't want to do the research?
It's not that I don't want to do the research. I find research fascinating. It's that I feel like if I do too much research, then I have a preconceived notion of who I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. And I really so when Rick interviews, he likes to research. He likes to know everything. He likes to have facts. He likes to draw out information. And I like to stumble blindly upon fascinating things. I like to just have an organic conversation with someone as though I don't know anything, because I typically don't. So I think that worked. Stumbling on things we don't know, but I don't know if it worked because we were talking to someone I know so well.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it totally does. And I was just hopeful that my research and where I was trying to take the conversation provided a bit of a through line or a thread to follow. Like it's like choose your own adventure. I like letting them go where they can go, but I also know what the other chapters are that we could potentially explore based on their life. And I think that's the other thing that we did well. And I am very happy with the direction that it went. Was this is supposed to be about the people and their lives and their personality and their lived experience. I get to talk to people about work and hear about their work day in and day out. And so I was really glad that we were able to kind of steer clear of going into the weeds of work and work life stuff. So I felt like that worked well too.
Two things. Thing one, I just want to it was actually not in the moments that Rick told me not to cry on the show, but there were moments that I was completely heart melted and touched because I'm an emotional human person. And I liked that. And I think not having the thread is what evoked that feeling in me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm curious what our listeners feel about that thread. Do you like the weaving of the conversation that we did, or would you like it to be more thought out? Would you like us to have written down questions? Would you like to send in questions for our guests?
I really don't like pre-planned questions like that.
Well, neither do I, but I'm asking what they want.
Yeah. But only if it's positive. Remember, she only wants to hear from you if it's
bad, tell Rick. If it's good, tell me.
Yeah.
And then the other, this is totally a negative. I forget to put my phone on Do Not Disturb before we start recording. And then things like phone calls in our first episode and right now text messages are distracting to me. So
that's fine. I mean, that's
something I need to get back into podcasting shape.
Well, but also I would argue that if there's one positive aspect of this last 3 years that we've lived through in the pandemic, it's our tolerance of production value. The bar has been significantly lowered. And so I think while, yes, it would be ideal if everything went well and perfectly, I don't find it.
I don't think it would be ideal if things went perfectly. I disagree. I like chaos.
You should tag me in that comment when you.
I will tag you in that comment. Stop trying to be perfect. Sorry.
It's fine. Just trying to do my best here.
Look at that. I think another issue is that I talk over you even when there's not a lag.
That's fair. You can blame it on the lag, though.
Oh, there's a significant lag.
Anything else we want to cover? I mean, I as I said, part of this, so we did the first thing and published it because we wanted to put something out there. We had the opportunity to meet with an awesome guest and record an actual episode and put that out there. And then again, just because we're new and trying new things, it's going to take us a while to kind of get our footing, but we didn't want to use that as an excuse not to put out content. So even on weeks where we don't have guests, we are making this commitment to record content and publish content on a consistent basis so that you can rely on us when you're like, I cannot fall asleep. I need like a boring monotone voice to help me doze off. Like I am here. I am here to support you in that.
Or golly, I need to keep running and I just need some annoying noise in my ears to keep me going while I'm exercising.
So that I know when I'm done running, I can take my headphones out and eliminate.
Never have to hear it again.
Yeah. Cool. Well, anything else you'd like to cover with folks? Do you know who's coming? Do you know who our next episode is yet? Or are we
I know who we're recording next week, but I don't know who we're publishing.
Next. Are we recording? Are we recording next week though with a guest?
We're recording 2 guests next week.
Okay, cool.
Do you want me to tell you who they are?
No.
They're really good. They're really good.
Cool. Well, that'll be nice to talk to some other cool people who are actually interesting.
I do have to say, we need to get some men on the show at some point because I'm speaking a lot of ladies.
And we do need to branch beyond kind of our tech realm to sooner
we
rather
are totally
than later.
Branching out of our tech realm.
Next week?
One of the interviews that we do next week is branching out of our tech realm, yes.
Okay, good.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone we know touches technology in some way. How does life not touch
Fair.
technology right now? But
you know what I mean. Startup-y tech crap.
Mika wasn't a startup-y thing.
She's tech.
Tech, yes. Startup, no. Open source, baby.
Right.
Do you have anything else you need to say? Because otherwise I'm going to show everyone the cat.
No, you can't show people a cat on a podcast, but you're welcome to try.
But I can on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. So
say hi,
we're another place we could use feedback from folks, like your listening or viewing habits is just like where in the week you would like fresh content. We're currently thinking like end of the week, so you have it on the weekend kind of thing, and you can deal with it as you want. But if you have an opinion there about when you would like the content, please don't hesitate to let us know on Instagram, Mildly Interesting People, all one word. You can let us know in the YouTube comments, or you can just reach out to us personally and let us know what you're thinking.
I thought of one other great question.
Sure.
On weeks that we don't have a guest, because there will be some.
Yeah.
It'll happen. What do people want to hear? Like, do you want us to take books that are, that we've got Creative Commons licensing, we can go and read? That's not Creative Commons. We can narrate books for you that we're allowed to read. Public domain. Yeah, we can have Rick read public domain books so that you have like a nice lull into bedtime.
Or a dictionary.
A dictionary.
Encyclopedia, whatever.
Will you read the dictionary?
Grey's Anatomy. Not the show, but like the actual book, Grey's Anatomy.
The show is good. Will you read me the dictionary though? Seriously? That'd be great.
Sure.
That's content I would digest. Maybe not what you all want, but let us know on weeks that it's not us interviewing someone, how we can brighten up your lives a little bit.
And we'll give you a heads up.
Dull it down.
We'll give you a heads up. Like, I think that's the other thing was what we'll try and do is, YouTube has this shorts format now that's an effective means of us kind of previewing content or asking for your feedback. And then also Instagram, if this becomes a regular thing where we're having gaps in our programming, we'll figure out some way to deal with it on the podcast. In fact, we may have a guest coming up sometime soon that will also help you understand how to interact with the podcast. But,
we do have that guest scheduled.
Yeah. But I think that's really it for this week. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe either on YouTube or on your favorite podcasty channel-y network thingamajigger or both. Yeah. Give us what do the kids say? Smash that subscribe button.
Smash that subscribe button and something that like.
Yeah. Click that like and ding that bell and all YouTube-y stuff. But thank you for listening. It's honestly so good to have a platform and be able to talk to you again. And we're looking forward to continuing this journey with you. And thanks for Cami for co-hosting this one too.
Thank you for co-hosting with me, Rick.
Just don't.
I didn't realize I was supposed to be gracious and stuff. Okay.
No. All right, we're gonna go. This has been mildly interesting people, and we'll let you go find something else more interesting. Goodbye.
But we'll be here next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.